So this was a day of enlightenment, I would say, because I met this guy. If Google people were sitting here, they would jump from this window, you know, because what he said in the presentation there, that they have a portal called Shraddhanjali, where you can actually put all the people who are not there anymore, all the profiles and everything, instead of putting them into a newspaper. And the most interesting thing he told was that if you put your father's name on Google, Google will come out with a zero search. So Google still doesn't have a lot of information what we feel they have. So this is very interesting, you know, and throughout the session, like since morning, we are enjoying, and it was wonderful. Just a question, because I think the previous question, the gentleman was the questions. So how many of you never played a game in your life? Really? So that's interesting. So we are game people, we are a social gaming company, and what we do actually is trying to break this tradition of bad games, we call them, because if you feel, and all of you are adults here, there was a game which was floating somewhere around 2006 or before that, where they said that how to rape a girl. Now these kind of games are also there, and there are, I respect a lot of women here, but this is the kind of games possibly men are developing, and the women suffer. So this is one side of the story, where people try to earn money by selling whatever they can. And on the other side, there are people like us who are trying to challenge this entire domain of social gaming, serious gaming, where people can learn. Now, interestingly, we had a press conference about the game I am going to show you just 2 weeks ago, and the news never came in any newspaper, including some journalists who are sitting here. They said that how a game can be a serious. Now I asked them a simple question, that how many of you played the chess? And the chess is like a game where you jump and shout and entertain. Chess is a game, serious game. Chess where you learn and you try to think backwards. You learn strategies in the game. You learn so many things in the chess, and chess is still not a game like game, and still people play it thousands of years. So we are talking about a domain called serious games, social games, and these are the games which are coming up in the world. And we are a story as a company, and actually my all colleagues are sitting here. So I was a doctor. I left medicine in 2001, wanted to do something different, and I always felt that being in the school where nothing was game and everything was a textbook, I said, can we change something in this world where we can actually go into gaming? So I started this company, and we came up with a very serious domains like disaster preparedness, where I worked in terrorism in Afghanistan and a lot of other places. I said, why not create games and serious games and training applications, which are called computer-based applications. So we started with this, and we worked on all these domains, starting with 2001, in virtual reality and 3D simulations. We had fantastic applications. The clients were like Schiphol Airport, Milan Airport, or maybe 300 clients in Europe, London Police, Paris Fire Brigade, so many, even including the real estate people in Europe. And when I show this 3D virtual reality here to real estate people, and they don't know anything, because they have seen something like a video clip of their project, which is not at all interactive, where people are actually talking about interactive in this world. And okay, so 3D simulation was another thing. Now so I said all these things. Somebody actually in 2007 asked me a question on a TV channel, that you are doing all these things, very fantastic things on the computer, why not you develop games for children? So that was the question which was asked by Rajan Parulekar, who is a journalist. And then we started thinking. We had a game called Real Lives, and still this game is sold in the world. There are about 4,000 schools in US, Europe, and rest of the world who are using this game in their syllabus, so which is a wonderful story. Real Lives actually is a game which was started or born somewhere in 2002, 2003. So we are selling this game across the globe since then. So it is like 13-year story of this game. The Angry Bird came and died. So many games came and died. There is a company in Pune, small company, which created this game called Real Lives, which is sold today at $30 a game, and people buy it. And there are 4,000 schools across the globe who are using this game, and their children. And there are now children whose parents played this game in their school, and now they want to buy this game. So it's a generation long game we are trying to create. So this is the topmost 15th game in the world currently, and in educational simulation, this is the #1. So there were climate games, and then somewhere in 2012, looking at our world, work, I was presenting in a similar way in Delhi, and there was a Ford Foundation guy sitting there, and he came to me saying that, Parag, this is wonderful work. Can you develop games to a very challenging domain, which is called livelihood in India? Livelihood is currently talking about the poorest of the poor, how to reach out to them, how to train these people from NGOs, organizations, institutes like IIM, IITs, or IRMA, or take any institute. How to train these young people who are using savvy technology in their hand, mobile phones and whatnot. So why these people cannot think of developing something on the computer or on the IT platform? So he came to me and they said, can you develop games for livelihood? And we started with a scratch, with no ideas actually how to go about it. And then the today's game we are presenting is called Chakravyuh, which is a farmer's challenge game. Now let me tell you, the farmer's challenge game is also going to be a story like real lives, for sure, because this is a game we developed on a real data in a real situation in Vidarbha in Maharashtra, where a lot of farmers are committing suicide. And why they commit suicide? There is a reason. They go in debt, they have no finances available, the crop fails, the rain doesn't come. So it's a story which is like a game. And why it is a game? Because the life is also sudden and surprise elements. Life, like we don't know what is going to happen next minute, next 5 minutes. We don't know. So in game environment, it is a similar story where game also gives you a sudden and surprise elements. And that's why people who work in game theories across Stanford, Harvard, wherever we go and present, they say that games can train you the best because games are together with what brain thinks like a game. So therefore, Chakravyuh is going to be a very fundamental game. This is the story of Chakravyuh. It's Vidarbha, Maharashtra. There is a guy called Sanju Phansalkar who heads the Tata Trust, the person who is next to Ratan Tata. And he had collected this data across Vidarbha, working with a lot of NGOs. And he said, Parag, I have the real data of the people. I have the data where I know what farmers are going through. So take this data and convert that data into a game. This is bloody very chilly, you know. I am freezing here. Anyway, so this data comes there, and then the team we have, graphic designers and the software people and whatnot. The essential part is that we start from the scratch like these guys do, and then we end up with a game which is actually functional. And then there are lots of these experience of farmers which we try to capture. So this is the region. And these are the things in the game. So there is high input cost for the cultivation. There is no control on the crop prices, the traders and all the inflation things we are talking about. Don't show me that here. I am going to speak. So spend, marriage and sickness, there is erratic rainfall. There is wide gap between income and what they spend because everything around us is private. You go to hospital and that guy is going to charge you 5, 10, 15, 20,000 rupees. And tension, and ultimately it leads to suicide. So that's the game is all about. And these are the families, kind of. Then there are some game parameters. So there is something like high and low status families. There are 4 crops you can cultivate like jowar, soybean, cotton and pesticides. And there is the real data attached to all these crops. Then there is these 4 situations like no drought, no pest. So it's ideal situation. Or there could be a drought but no pest. So this is the worst condition, pest but no drought, and the last is the worst where farmers really get killed. So that's what we wanted to bring. Now why a game? Because we feel that a lot of people are playing games. All these people, if they play such games like Chakravyuh, they will get sensitized about or aware about the issues. They will actually play it as a first person game into a gaming mode, and they will play it as a farmer. So first time I will know sitting in my best 3 BHK apartment that probably if I even save 5,000 rupees, that is going to help this farmer somewhere or some place. And these farmers are committing suicide for just 35,000 rupees, which is like a shock to many of the citizens in 400 cities across India, which are major towns. So these are the kind of questions we are asking here. And so this is a beautiful graphics. Again, there is a graphic thing sitting there. What we do actually when we develop a game, it's a very serious business. So we have to first simulate the game on an Excel sheet. And there is this Anand who is sitting there who has mathematical mind, and we are actually looking for all these people. So we put all this data, simulate the game, and then see the ultimate result. Once it is simulated on an Excel sheet, I know that possibly this game is going to a simulation kind of a game. and then we start developing backwards. So that's how the game design works. This is the game chart, and then this is how the game screen looks currently, where you push the button and you start playing. If you give me 2 minutes more, then I'll show you the game, how it plays, and then we can stop. So this is the initial screens. I'll click this, and I think it will take, because this is little older laptop, it will take some time. So meanwhile, this game is free because it is supported by Ford Foundation, that is one. Secondly, it is currently on all platforms, Mac, PC, Android, not Android, we are developing the Android, but Linux, and it can work on anything. Now this is how the, and it's in Hindi and English currently, and we are developing it in Spanish and some other languages. So this is how the thing comes. So here you get your name, here is the family member, here is a marriageable daughter, so we have one in this family. Then you have 10 acres of land, and this is your high status family. So depending on the status, you will come to the expenditure part of it. Now these are the 4 parameters which work, and the moment you click this, you will get your land which is 10 acres, so which is behind, and because every game has some money which is given, so we also get some money which is currently 1000 rupees per acre. And there is some fantastic music which Yogesh has put for the game, and this is the initial parameter. Here actually we will know how much money is available in your hand, how much is your debt, and what is the total debt you have, and then you go on playing this game. Then you have certain things like your life, about the typical things you spend for your children, for your wife, for yourself, and that is how you do it. I am going to show you one interesting part which is going to come next. So this goes, these are some help screens. I am going to give game to anyone because it's free, and I can just give it after my presentation. Now here actually you see these 4 crops, which is jawar, soybean, which is the real crops in that region, cotton and hybrid cotton. Now what you do actually, you just take this crop and plant it. So it will grow. Now while it's growing, it will also show that for jawar you have to spend 1000 rupees, which is 1 acre. So total money you are going to spend is 1000 rupees. And here there are 4 weather conditions which I told you earlier. One is the ideal condition where you are going to get 6400 rupees, and this is real data. We can keep changing this data every year. If it's a drought, the income goes down, it is 5600. If it is a pest attack, then it is still lower because pest is tremendous. It is about 4800, and if the drought and pest come together, you will get 2400 rupees. Now this is how the entire thing is simulated, and then you can say grow soybean somewhere. I can also replace a crop if I want to grow, so instead of jawar, soybean here, and I can keep playing this game looking at what is my ultimate profit. Now somebody from United Nations who attended a previous session in Delhi, he suggested that Parag, can it be a practical tool? I go with a tablet to a farmer, I ask him how much land you have, and then I go on putting all the data for the farm he is going to grow, crop he is going to grow, with the present prices and everything, and I can actually show him that this is the worst condition and this is the best condition, and this is how the games can really teach you. I stop here because I think the next session is in waiting, but anybody who wants this game, anybody has more ideas for this game, they are invited. Currently what we are trying to do is this game, just which is a farmer's data from Vidarbha, we are going to extend this data throughout the world. There are already data coming from Australia. There are actually suicides happening in Australia. There are suicides happening in France, UK, and practically every Western country. So we are talking to all the organizations across the globe. We are collecting this data, compiling this data, and what you will have is a world farmer game, which we dream for. And again, as I said, even if you play this particular game 100,000 times, no life is going to be repeated. And that is the beauty of real life as well as this game which we are trying to develop. So thanks for your patience, and I am I'm ready for questions if there are any.
So it's a free game, right?
Yeah.
So what's your revenue model?
Revenue model, we were funded by Ford Foundation. So somebody liked this idea, and this game has to be free, because if you start buying, selling these games, then there are NGOs like in Yavatma or these places where they actually want to use this game, will never use this game. That is one. But eventually, as I said, we are now talking to University of Curtin in Australia. Now, when they start talking to us, we will develop some revenue model with them. The second thing is, a lot of NGOs have contacted him, including Pradhan, Srujan in Rajasthan, and there are about more than 60 inquiries which have come to us saying that can we develop similar games for them. There is a Kaivalya Foundation from Rajasthan. They are asking us, can you develop games which are out of syllabus for the children. So people are developing syllabus games, mathematics, physics and all that stuff. But can you develop something which is beyond syllabus, which is about life. So I think currently we have more than 100 orders in hand. So that's the kind of a revenue we are talking. People are asking us, can you develop games on health, public health, can you develop game on career counseling, can you develop games on, so all the inquiries are coming to us, and that's what somebody was asking in some session, that what is the niche USP you have, and the niche USP you have is that we are fair, we are developing, trying to develop good games, and we are going to help the community in a larger, better way. So that's the revenue model ultimately we have. Yeah, and last 12 years we are functioning with a revenue. So we were extremely profitable, like we did the business in Europe, and because we worked always niche and out of the box kind of a market.
Yeah. Another question. Now farmers can only farm jawar, bajra, and this. I just want to think differently, because there's something going on in my mind. Why do people have to die only because they are growing only jawar, bajra, and they grow vegetables inside and fruits and everything?
Yes.
Which can grow. Soil is available, water is available. They can eat fruits and vegetables and
Yeah.
still live. Why should they die?
Yeah.
Can you
Yes. So
extend your game?
yeah. So I will be fast on that. I worked with a person called Dr. Rajiv Sharangpani, who is from Pune. We did a 7-8 years long research in a field, and we came up with an idea that every week there could be a plant which a farmer can grow. So you can have something like 52 plants apart from your main thing. There are about 400 variables on which farmers work, which we don't realize. We feel that we are MBAs and doctors and farmers are stupid people. But actually when people studied farmers, they realize that there are 400 variables on which these farmers are working. Now the problem is that somewhere there is no water, like suddenly the June monsoon has shifted to July. So entire jari or moong, which we call in Marathi, is gone in say places like Beed or Jalgaon, that side. So this is the kind of insecure conditions around farmer. Now what we should shift to is something which is more legalized and more organized farming, and how to make knowledge available. And there was a guy from Kerala, fantastic portal they have, is how to farm and how to do, what to do at what time, is another, he is sitting here. So I think there has to be a connection, and this connection is going to happen because there is something which is happening now in India with IT and with lot of these knowledge portals and knowledge which can go to the people. So I think there is a chance and we should exploit that. And as I said, NABARD, we are talking to them. So all these people are asking that one way this is a game, can it be converted into a practical tool? And practical tool is where actually people like you can contribute ideas. And we are actually opening the website we have is livelihoodgames.org, and it's an open WordPress kind of a block. So I think you can share the ideas and come up with some.
I have recently come to know that developing games is an expensive affair.
Yeah.
So can you throw some
No,
light
it's
on
expensive
how much
because.
does it take to develop a game?
No, it's expensive because it's a very creative process, that is one. And secondly, the way we are taught in India in engineering colleges, if you go to graphic design people, if you go to say colleges or to engineering colleges, none of us know actually how the games are developed. So that's one part of it. The second is connection with the domain. So you have to have a knowledge of the domain, and then you can see, forget about games like Temple Run or say Candy Crush Saga and all. You don't require brains to do that. And Nicholas Negroponte actually said that currently a lot of IT people use 2% of their brain, which dogs use actually. So that's the kind of argument people are doing, and this is the reality, that we are not applying our mind in the best possible way. the thing is like today there was someone from IIT Bombay and he said that they have a gaming design department. But then the guy comes out of there and he asks for say $100,000 as a salary. So who is going to afford that? So somewhere there has to be a trade, and that's what we said, that why not we be a social business? Why not we should be a social company? And then it's a different argument that okay, the salaries could be less, but we do something meaningful, something which is interesting, and maybe money comes. Like for example, Bill Gates Foundation, they might give us 100 or $1 million suddenly. We don't know, but this can happen, and then it can grow. But yes, making games is very not very expensive. You can still optimize it. You should not be in fancy setups. You can still be a non-AC office like us in Prabhat Road in Pune, and you can visit the office. It's a very simple office. So you can maintain all these things around you and still do a wonderful job.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
Parag, because, yeah,
Sorry? This was about 4 months, 4 to 5 months.
It's a team of 10.
It's about 10 people.
yeah, thank you very much, because we have to rush downstairs.
Sir, last-
Yeah, but, we will do it, if you allow us, please, huh? Because we have 5-10 minutes and we have to go
One last
downstairs.
question, मैम.
Okay.
सर बहुत सारा सब्सिडीज रहता है इसका लोन्स का, और उसके बाद में सीड्स पे भी सब्सिडी रहता है. साइमल्टेनियसली जीआईसी के तरफ से क्रॉप इंश्योरेंस भी होता है, तो फिर भी वो फैसिलिटी उनके तरफ जाता नहीं है क्या? क्यों सुसाइड होता है?
Yeah, I think
वो
he is
गेम में
the-
नहीं आता है क्या?
नहीं, he is the more capable guy because he is a field guy. But I will try to answer this.
Yeah.
Game में हो सकता है. See, this is the version 1 game. It will evolve to version 10 for sure in next 2-3 years. Now all these things, crop insurance, the real-time data about health, everything will go into it. So we are also evolving the game. The first version is launched, and already you know that see, we had a workshop in Bihar with Bihar government, with the young professionals they recruited currently from IIMs and a lot of these institutes. We had 1-day workshop, and you won't believe, somebody actually finished the game in year 3 and somebody kept playing till year 20, making 8 lakh rupees as a profit. Now this is a real time which can happen in the game. Now all this knowledge, if it goes to the field with the farmers, as she was saying, I think that is going to be a wonderful thing. So we will include all this real time data from everywhere, including this Vidarbha, and we will actually say in the game that a lot of options are available you as a farmer. Do you want to have a crop insurance paid? You can choose yes or no. The moment you say no and there is something coming like a pest attack or a drought, you are going to, so that could
Yes,
be
sir,
an
ये तो-
educational tool.
ये तो जीआईसी की तरफ से होता है सर ऑटोमेटिकली.
GIC is what?
जनरल इंश्योरेंस कंपनी
okay,
जब
yeah.
बैंक का फाइनेंशियल लोन होता है तो ऑटोमेटिकली वो इंश्योरेंस
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.